Now, I'm going to preface it by saying that the reason why I'm doing this presentation now is that I know a lot of you know what we do, but some of you here might actually be guests. Some of you might not know the full scope of everything that Pauly's project does. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about what we do, some of the things that you might not see from behind the scenes, and then I'm also going to talk about the scope of the homelessness issue, which unfortunately can be kind of bleak, but there's a reason why I'm going to talk about that. So first, we're going to talk about the impact and reach of Pauly's project. Some of you guys might not know this, but we are actually active not only in Skid Row, but all across LA County and San Gabriel Valley. We started off doing caravans in Skid Row, delivering hygiene kits, clothing, food, and friendship to people living around downtown LA. More recently, we kind of figured out like, oh my God, there's actually a need to help the working poor and low-income families throughout LA County. If we can diversify what we do as a service and help people from becoming homeless, that's actually a win unto itself. So, as you can see right here, these are all the different cities that we are active in. West Covina, La Puente, Baldwin Park, San Dimas, Azusa. Another thing we do is we activate a ton of volunteers every single year. Every other week, we go down to Skid Row, we do the caravan. You're probably familiar with that if you follow us on Instagram. You know, on those kind of events, we probably have maybe 30, 40 volunteers with us. We also do a giving event in Gladys Park on Skid Row where we activate as many as 150 volunteers to help feed as many as 500 residents of Skid Row. Another thing that you might not know that we do is we do these free grocery delivery services all around LA County where we're giving donated groceries and we're helping out, again, low-income families, you know, who are one paycheck away from being homeless. We do that all throughout LA County and we activate over 1,000 volunteers every single year doing this. Thanks, Mike. Now, again, talking about the three different things that we do. The Sunday Street Outreach, we do that bi-monthly, twice a month. We have the Giving Back events in Gladys Park. We do that twice a year. We do the Community Saturdays where we feed families all around LA County. We do that all throughout the week, every week. And if Dion is here, have Dion stand up. She leads that. Dion is not on social media all that often. We're not posting a lot of photographs of that. She is amazing and she's making a huge difference, and her team do this every single weekend. It's incredible. Thank you, Mike. So again, some statistics about our street outreach. We do 200 outreach missions. We've done that so far since the beginning of Pauly's project. Again, we do that twice a month. And every single mission, we're feeding about 125 people. And we've even housed 100 people so far. And how this happens is when we go out to Skid Row and we build the relationships with the people living on the streets, we become the first contact for them getting into housing. We're able to connect them to LASA. We're able to connect them to, you know, therapy, to addiction treatment. And we're just kind of starting out on that. We have a lot more work to do, but we're already doing it, and it's a huge difference because we are the primary contact. We're almost kind of like caseworkers in that way. We build a relationship and we connect them to resources. Now, for the Gladys Park events, these are huge. If you've ever seen us on Skid Row, like right around the holidays, we team up with Denny's. We're serving hot food cooked on site. You know, we have hot pancake breakfast, bacon, eggs. We have musical performers. So as you might have seen Jackie Bay in the lobby earlier, she performed with us. We have DJs. We have activities for kids. We have arts. We have interactive arts and crafts. You know, we even have children volunteers. We had Girl Scouts come through and volunteer with us. It's a family-friendly event. It's a safe space. It's a place where you can feel community, where you can feel friendship, where you can take a load off, you can get a hot meal, and you can just exist in public and not be harassed. It's important. What we're doing is creating community. And again, here's some photos of what we do for the Saturday grocery outreach. We're feeding nearly 15,000 food insecure families throughout the year. We're teaming up with Walmart, with Sprouts. We're giving away 6.5 thousand pounds of meat, 75,000 pounds of produce. We're around all of LA County. It's incredible. And again, give it up for Dion, give it up for our team. Here's one example of the impact we're making. I'm not going to read the entire quote, but it's like, here it is. This is one of the recipients. Life's tough. Putting food on the table is tough. Food is so expensive, but knowing that we get your food makes us happy because it's good and healthy, and it helps us more than you can imagine. Okay, again, a lot of people, you know it's tough out there. Like, it is so tough. Inflation is so bad. The cost of living in LA is so expensive, right? A lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. If we can give you a bag of groceries that's like $200, $300 worth of groceries, that's $200 or $300 more dollars you can put toward rent. That's $200 or $300 more dollars that you can put toward your utilities. This is helping people stay in their homes. And it's dire out there, but we're making a difference. And every dollar that you donate today, just by being here, you're helping us expand this program. So thank you. Thank yourselves for being here. Every dollar that you put toward the raffle, every dollar that you put toward a silent auction helps us feed more families and keep them housed. Okay, now this is where we're actually going to get a little bit more serious. Like, I need to explain to you guys the scope of homelessness. And I think you guys already know. Like, when you drive around LA, when you drive around downtown LA, you see the tents everywhere. You see the encampments everywhere. You see people looking hopeless, right, on every street corner. And we've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm not going to lie, it's actually gotten worse and worse and worse every single year. And at times, it makes us feel really frustrated and really hopeless. But the reason why I'm sharing these stats with you now, it's not to make you feel hopeless. It's to educate everybody here, because if we're going to turn this around collectively, it's going to be bigger than Pauly's project. It's going to be conversations. It's going to be talking to politicians. It's going to be holding them accountable. It's going to be having honest conversations with people who might be pessimistic, who might be cynical, and we have to talk to them about these stats so we can educate them, so we can collectively move this forward, because Pauly's project alone can't do it. But if all of us here have these conversations about it, maybe we can make it happen. So that being said, I'm going to talk about the stats now. So we have 75,500 unhoused people in LA County. 75,000. That raised by 9% in the past year alone, and a lot of that has to do with inflation. You know, rent is going up, the cost of everything is going up, and even though we are putting more resources than ever toward affordable housing, you know, we have Prop HHH, Measure H, you know, there's a lot of money going toward it. People are really trying to figure this out, but it's tough because the cost of living is going up and the unhoused population is going up because of it. Now I'm going to talk about living with trauma and what this unhoused population is dealing with, right? This is really important. 25% of them have a serious mental illness, and they're admitting this in polls that are anonymous. They're saying, yeah, I do need help. I'm struggling with this. 30% of them have addiction issues, right? 27% of the women who live on the street have been sexually abused and assaulted within the past year. That is staggering. That alone should make us all think like, okay, we need to get women off the street immediately. What is going on? We should all feel urgent and shameful that this is happening, okay? And again, one thing that's really important, you might have seen it on the poster out there, the average age of death for the unhoused population is like 48 for women and 51 for men. If you are homeless in LA, this takes 30 years off your life. Because if you are housed in LA, you live until you're 80 years old. If you're unhoused, you die at 50. Now I want to talk about systemic racism, right? If you drive around LA and you look at the unhoused population, you probably notice that the demographics are really skewed. We all know that America has deep systemic racism. The African American and Black population in particular is hit really hard by this. They represent 8% of our county's population, but 32% of the unhoused population. Again, this is bigger than Pauly's project. We might not have the solution, but we have to speak to it. We have to talk about it. Systemic racism is real, and again, we have to address this. Now, one more thing too is Pauly's project can try as hard as they can. We can connect people to LAHSA, we can try to connect them to housing, but the truth is it's actually quite a long wait. Like the average rent, okay, so just so you know, the barriers to get into housing, The average rent for a one bedroom in LA is now $2,400, right? Anybody who grew up in LA, you know that that is really inflated. It used to not be that expensive. It went up 15% in 1 year, 15% higher. And because of that, the unhoused population grew by 10%. Like, it's all cost of living. Another thing too is that in LA, again, LA County, we have 75,500 unhoused people. Guess what? We only have 26,000 shelter beds. Even if every single person living on the street wanted to get into a shelter right now, we could only shelter 1 in 3 of them. This is a travesty, and we need to talk about it more. We need to provide more solutions. Another thing too is Section 8 housing. The wait list to get into Section 8 housing, which is like government subsidized for low income, the average wait is 5.5 years. The LA Times reported that. So things are tough, and again, I'm saying this because we're trying all we can on Pauly's project, and we're not the only ones. There are so many great organizations out there that are working toward this, but it's systemic, and we really need to talk about this issue, and we need to have these honest conversations, because there is a perception out there like, oh, these people are homeless, they're living on the street because they're lazy, or they're addicted to drugs, or they want to live on the street or whatever, but that's not the truth at all. We have to be very honest about all the barriers about getting back into housing. So again, help us get people into the resources, help us buy their time, help us prevent people from becoming homeless, because that's what we're trying to do at Pauly's project. And thank you. I'm sorry to take the mood down. I'm sorry to be really angry about this, but we've all been doing this for a long, long time, and we're doing it out of love and compassion, but there's also anger. We're all here because we're angry and we're frustrated, and this needs to stop. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us, but let's have these conversations, please. Thank you.